Welcome to the Friday edition of Juan's World. And you'll see my opening is a rather wild and woolly one. It's the scene from my balcony a couple of days ago, just giving you some idea of what monsoon season is like in Southeast Asia. It was really rough, but it's not usually all that rough for all that long. You know, most of the morning was bright and sunny. It's very bright and sunny now, but I expect in a couple of hours, it's about 1 o'clock right now, I think, by about 3 o'clock it'll probably be all dark and stormy, and then we'll be in for another hour or so of this kind of thing, and then it'll clear up. So I'm now moving into the meadow period, and I have a bit of a problem because I'm not quite sure where to go from here. So I'm going to probably be a bit brief today, just talking about inspiration and where we're going. So let's get started. Okay, so now you can actually see my face, and it's bright and sunny. You can't see out the window right now, of course, but you can see that it's nice and sunny in the apartment where I'm recording. And so I thought, okay, well, let's think about where we're going to go from here, because I've talked about modernism, talked about Freud and Marx and Einstein. And then when I look back at what I've talked about over the course of the time that I've been doing these videos, which is now just slightly over 2.5 years, 2 a day, I'm sorry, 2 a week, not 2 a day, 2 a week, pretty much for that entire time, mostly because we've been in lockdown, and I've not been able to travel, and so I've done them fairly consistently. But I've kind of run out of ideas, and I mean, not completely. I've got some things I might want to talk about. I've been writing about race and gender recently. Race is a very curious and complicated topic, because biological race it doesn't exist, and anthropologists have known this for at least 100 years. There is no biological basis for race. That if you take two individuals, or let's say 3 individuals, that's a better number, take 2 individuals that supposedly are of the same race, and 1 individual that is of a different race. It's quite common for the 2 of different races to be genetically more similar than the people who are designated as of the same race. That just tells you that biology is useless for determining what race is. That what we come down to is what we call a social construct. That is, that we have determined socially, like culturally, mentally, intellectually, that this is what a particular race is, and these are the people that belong in it, and these are the people that don't belong in it. But it has to be legislated, sometimes almost literally. There was for a time in the US South, for example, what was called a 1-drop rule, that if it could be proven that you had any ancestor anywhere in your history, like it could be like 14 generations ago, you have one person who was black and you are black. That's the one drop rule. They were sometimes called the blood quantum rule, like how much white or black blood you had to have before you were considered white or black. Or just take the simple, obvious observation that people who have one black parent and one white parent are generally considered black. Like Barack Obama. Barack Obama's mother was white. His father was from Kenya. And he's black. Because the rule is that if you have any ancestry of a lower level minority group, you are attached to that group. All right, well, I mean, I could go into that in more detail, but I'm not going to. I've also been talking about gender, the difference between biological sex, that is whether you're male or female, or whether male and female are legitimately binary options, which I believe they are. I mean, there are some people who are intersex, that is, they cannot be ascribed male or female, but they're a very, very small percentage of the overall population. And then there's gender, which is different entirely. It's an idea that comes ultimately from linguistics. Like sex is male and female, gender is masculine and feminine. And so there are physical traits that are male and physical traits that are female. And then there are cultural traits that are masculine and cultural traits that are feminine. And that one's a little bit more complicated because sex tends to be binary, one or the other. Gender is not. Gender is much more fluid. It can be considered to be a spectrum or a continuum, where you've got masculine at one end and feminine at the other end, and then there's all kinds of varieties in the middle, and so on. So yeah, I mean, I can talk about my writing. I can talk about what's happening in Cambodia. You know, just had an election. Can talk about a lot of things, but I'm just kind of running out of steam. So I'm wondering. So like, what I'm going to say is, what's going to happen on Tuesday? I don't know. I don't have a recipe for you for today. Why don't I have a recipe? Because I haven't done anything new in a very long time. I discovered that a certain way of maintaining heart health is not so much to reduce sodium intake, which is important. You know, so people who have heart problems will often be told to reduce their salt intake, which I do. I don't cook with salt. I haven't cooked with salt for a long time. And you may wonder if the food is bland because of the lack of salt. And the answer is no, that you adjust over time if you remove salt from your diet. It just takes a week or so, and then everything that tasted bland for a little while when you reduced your salt now tastes the same. I do sometimes use monosodium glutamate, which gets a lot of people upset, but that's also another one of those stupid prejudices. But anyway, what I discovered was it's not just a matter of reducing salt, but it's a matter of making sure you have enough potassium. Both are electrolytes and both are necessary for good heart function. And if you have low potassium, then it doesn't matter how low your sodium is, you're still going to have problems. But if you can lower your sodium and raise your potassium, then things are a lot better. And I've found that is the case. And I've done that by increasing the number of avocados I eat, usually at least one a day, but sometimes more. Plenty of leafy green vegetables, plenty of legumes, plenty of things that are high in potassium. But not very interesting. You're going to watch me cut an avocado open, spoon out the insides, maybe mix it with some some arugula, and a little bit of rice wine and olive oil. I doubt it, because that's mostly what I'm eating. So not a lot of new recipes. So then here's the thing. Stay tuned. Come back on Tuesday and see if I've done something new. I wouldn't be surprised if I have, but I might also decide to take a break. We'll see. And meanwhile, have a good weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy yourselves. It's later than you think.